Too bright! Pretty please? Wow, my voice carries. One ring to rule them all. Darkness by them. We should just do readings. We should just do like a reading or something.
Yeah, that would be so awesome.
Hi, everybody. Is it better if I'm like this, or do you like it when it's nice and loud? Nice and loud. It's cool in here. Sorry, you were... I bring my own pinky Tuscanero to these things. You guys remember, those 4 people are over 45. Because they saw Happy Days and they know exactly who Pinky Tuscanero is. And for those of you who even know who the Fonz is, it was the Fonz's girlfriend. I bring my own Pinky, and she dressed a little bit like a roller derby person like my friend.
Hey, I'm rocking for tonight's premiere, guys. Who's with me? So I am going to ask Sean a couple questions, and then I'm going to introduce you guys to the mics to ask a quick question. 1 question, please, so we can make it through 40 minutes like rock stars.
No questions.
No questions. First, I want to ask you guys, who's a Goonies fan up in here? And of course, you're a Lord of the Rings fan. You should leave if you're not.
You know what I've been getting recognized for? Not recognized for, but the thing I'm hearing the most about lately is, well, not Rudy, who's yelling Rudy, that he's a plant, just so you know, is 50 first dates.
Such a good one.
It's protein safe.
What really happened? Like, what a commitment.
You know, I had gotten really fat for Lord of the Rings. Potatoes, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. There's like 6 things I can say, and that's the whole panel. And everybody's like, oh, that's right. New thinking, people, new thinking. But anyhow, so I had gotten really fat because Tolkien wrote their, you know, Sam was a short, fat hobbit. But then I was tired of being fat. And how much of this story do I tell? It's a long story. Basically, at October 28th, 2000, I decided
Happy birthday.
What's your name? Sydney? Cindy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cindy. Happy birthday in a few months to you. What's your sign?
Scorpio.
Wow, no idea what that means. She's a Scorpio. Raise your hand if you're a Scorpio. Okay, I don't think. Okay. You know what the cool thing is? My little daughter, my 11-year-old daughter, we showed her the Star app. You guys know what that is? Where you can point the phone anywhere and it shows you where in the sky the constellations are and
I think so cool.
where Hubble is. And she, Dad, I found Hubble. I'm like, right on. So I didn't really start hitting her with the Zodiac yet. Well, wait.
Kids have so much cooler stuff than we did, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I had like an Etch-a-Sketch.
I had an Evel Knievel you could wind up like this.
Like now my son's just like, has like this viewfinder and he can see like, oh, it's just so cool. It's not like already.
No, but he's talking about virtual reality.
Yes.
Have you get they gave that to me.
Yeah.
They gave that to me, and this is what you look like. I wanted to see, I went in the first one I did was the shark experience where you go down in the shark cage, right? And so you wear the thing.
You look ridiculous, like in front of anyone.
Oh, look, they're special. Don't let them walk in the street. Anyhow, Elijah Wood and I were playing football. We were playing catch. I think we were playing catch, and there was fireworks going on because it was Guy Fawkes Day. Anyhow, there were fireworks going off. Tejano is almost as south as you can get in the South Island, like you're almost at Antarctica. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, Elijah starts going up and down. And I feel the ground under me. You're like, whoa. There are a lot of earthquakes in New Zealand. And that was one of the strangest. So, of course, I'm worried about my wife and daughter who are in the room, so I go running and I sprint, and they're like, geez, Dad, the thing was swinging. I'm like, I know, but it was gentle, right? It wasn't, they're like, yeah, it was weird. And I said, you know what? I've done my job for Peter Jackson at 200 pounds. And I grabbed my running shoes. It was 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. And she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going out for a run. And that was seditious. I mean, that was as revolutionary. And because once, like 6 months earlier, I had gone to a tennis court with my makeup artist, Jeremy Woodhead, who Ian McKellen stole. That's a whole different story. But anyhow, so I went to this tennis, and then we played tennis, and I'm fat and sloppy, and you know, Jeremy was really good at it. And then the next thing you know, cover of the Wellington newspaper.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Sean Astin, you know, not quite Wimbledon, but playing tennis, and I walk in, and Peter looks at me like this.
Oh my god.
They have these candies that are kind of chewy. They're kind of like gumdrops, but they're thicker and they're bigger, and they're in the shape of all kinds of fish and things. And they call them lollies. And he looks at me when I come in and he says, "More lollies for Mr. Astin, please." So October 28th, I said I'm going for a run, and my wife's like, oh my gosh. I was like, the amount of time it's going to take me to burn the weight off is, we'll be finished by then. So I never saw a scale that was over 200. At 199, I stopped looking. Since then, I've seen 200. It's sad. But anyhow, I went for an 8-mile run.
Wow.
I went out and ran for 8 miles. I felt like, you know, one of those movies where the wind is in your face and, you know, you can see your whole life flashing. By January, and by New Year's Eve, I weighed 164.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because I actually had a treadmill put next to our bed.
Wow.
And I would wake up and I get on the treadmill for an hour, and then like later in the afternoon I get back on the treadmill for an hour, and then I go to sleep. And I was like, it was kind of like a highly caffeinated Forrest Gump. But wait. Oh, so I got skinny, properly skinny, and I did a show called Jeremiah, which some people in sci-fi written. Hey, I know you.
I know you.
How are you?
I'm good.
You live here?
I live about 2 hours away, but I drove here just for you.
You're so sweet. You're one of my loyals.
Yes, I am.
But you got to stand up and be recognized. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that at one point I made an offhanded comment about the people who always showed up at the conventions to visit, like you are now, or when social media got ramped up, they just, any project I had, if I got a, crowdsourcing thing going, or if I was trying to help Edward James Olmos with his, and there were just the same 20 people would show up all the time, and I was like, well, here's a shout out to my loyals. Well, the loyals grabbed that moniker and ran with it. And now, like, second generation loyals, like Joey is going to be here, Linda's daughter's going to be here with apparently a boyfriend. You guys got to look out for me. But anyhow, so I get a call. I'm doing Jeremiah, which great. I got to play Mr. Smith. Great part that Joe Straczynski, who does a lot of writing for Spider-Man, and there you go. I think in the comic book sci-fi space, when you know more than everybody else, you can't be so reluctant in your clapping. I think you have to like shout out. But anyhow, but then I get a call. I'm directing an episode and I'm starring in them, and I'm going back and forth because there's the award season for Lord of the Rings. It's a big time for me in my life, and I get a call, and the agent said there's this movie with Adam Sandler. You gotta audition for it. And I read it, I'm like, it's a hilarious movie, but there's no like real part for me. They're like, it's funny, you're gonna be funny in it, you have to do it. And agents don't usually push like this, and they pushed and pushed and pushed. I put myself on tape, which was like new, people weren't doing that then, and I kind of directed it a little bit, and it was really funny. They made the rounds with the agents. I wish I had that to show. It was totally goofy. But I got a call, and then I did it on the way. I was like downloading it and handing it to my buddy, and he gave it to the person, and I get to Vancouver, and Adam Sandler's on the phone. He was at Show West in Vegas, and he had just seen it. He's like, funny stuff. And I was like, okay. He goes, listen, would you be willing? Now remember, I just lost like, 30, how many pounds? 36 pounds, 34 pounds, something like that. And he goes, listen, would you be willing to get in the gym for 2 hours a day for the next 2 months to kind of beef up?
That's right.
Yeah, man, you put me in an Adam Sandler movie, I'll do whatever you want. But now we have Doug, and people have been recognizing me for Doug. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. You have another question, young lady?
Oh,
Thank
you
you.
know what? I want to get you guys up here, but I quickly want to ask you a production question. When you're comparing fantasy film from then and now, what do you see in the difference in production? Is it easier for you, on the set? Is it just something that translates into post, or what do you think is the difference? Is the coolness? I mean, look at the Goonies and look at Lord of the Rings.
Well, I feel like, Lord of the Rings, and I say this with no humility, it's the season for no humility. So I say that we were truly groundbreaking. And it wasn't me, it was Peter Jackson and Weta, the digital effects team, and how many hundreds of prosthetic masks and costumes and thousands that they made, the Urukai uniforms, using the New Zealand Army. They were forging literally their own swords. The Hobbit feet, which were not an insubstantial feat. Should I do there? And then the quality of the caliber of actors that they brought in, Kate Blanchett, and Sir Ian McKellen playing a wizard, this is one of the great Shakespearean actors of the 20th century, and he's going in to put on a nose and a long beard and a pointy hat and play with. So all of that, the use of miniatures. They called them bigatures because they were so big. That I would just go sometimes and just sit in a room and stare at these models that they made. I mean, they were spectacular to look at. So seamlessly integrated. They had 24 movie cameras, 35 millimeter movie cameras. We ran over 1 million feet of film through the cameras and through the post-production process. And there was, I think by the end of it, there's probably 10 units. The A unit, B unit, insert unit, helicopter unit, double unit, photo unit, this unit, that unit, and it would go on and on. And then you'd have splinter unit, and then A1 and A2, and then they'd be, there was never any time. They'd have 6 different little warehouses where they had built sets all over Wellington, and you'd drive over to this set, set up the shot, then you drive over to that set, set up that shot, and drive over you got to get back there, it's time to shoot that one, and now you got to shoot that one, So what we did, just the CG, what Andy Serkis, there wasn't even a vocabulary for what was happening. That we had to suffer emotionally. Andy had to suffer. Now he's created an empire, but at the very beginning of it, we would rehearse it with Andy. They brought the guy there. He wasn't even going to be there. He's going to be the voice, and he's on set, and you're like, great actor on set. Okay, we'll rehearse it like it's real, cool. And that was helpful. It was really good. And then we would shoot, and they'd say, well, let's shoot a reference pass. You're like, okay. So a rehearsal, but you're going to actually spend money on the film. Okay. So we do the reference pass, and the whole time, Elijah and I would say, we're waiting to give the full performance. You sort of, you don't want to peak too soon. And then Andy's feelings were getting hurt. Because they kept calling it the reference pass, and he's like, I'm trying to give a performance here. So they changed it, they changed the name of it. And then all of a sudden, when they changed the name of it, Elijah and I are like, oh. And then they said, we can actually use this footage. We can paint him out. So Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson and the technology were literally pushing the boundary. I mean, when you first started, if you were going to shoot this Shelob sequence, you'd have the camera there, and you'd have guys in there, and they'd be, reference dots, and they'd bring this silver globe, and that way they could see what the lighting was from all around, and they'd take pictures of that. And by the end of it, we would just go in, and they would just film me fighting with Shelob, and they built the room, and they just put her in there. I mean, they invented the technology, essentially, or perfected it, or pushed it. So that was awesome.
That's incredible.
But now you have industrialized. That process is industrialized, which in a way makes it feel like, oh well, it's not quite as cutting edge, even though it is. James Cameron does the Blue People, and Avatar does Avatar, and then it keeps getting pushed. But now what you have is story and characters. You've got Game of Thrones. So to me, there was something exciting about being literally in the New Zealand frontier choppering up to mountains where nobody had ever been. That was awesome. And this sense that like we had the feeling the studio didn't even know what they were buying. We thought, you know what, they think they're getting kind of a, Dungeons and Dragons or something. They don't get like what this is. They did, but that's what we felt because we were on the frontier. Now, I think when you go to these sets, it's a little bit more. People know what to do. The schedules are, reflect experience, and so I think that actors now don't necessarily have the same visceral. I don't know, the kind of no safety net feeling we had. So I think they have to dig deep, and they have to bring the full Monty to what they're doing. So I just can't wait for virtual reality. What are we gonna do?
Right.
What are we gonna do? I just can't wait.
Let's just hope Instagram doesn't go to virtual reality.
I just hope I don't get hit by a bus before I get to be in a virtual reality franchise. You know what I mean?
Okay, I am going to invite you guys up single file to the microphones to ask one question each. And if you can sit behind the person asking the question so everybody can see still, that would be awesome. And I'll invite Sean to pick.
So is it just one microphone?
There's this one, and I think...
Okay, no one go to that microphone, because that microphone is like, well, no, you can go to that mic. You do whatever you want, this is America. Okay, young doctor who, I can't see who you are.
Yeah, it's a TARDIS with a cake from the Marriott carpet at Dragon. It's a
I was just going to ask what room you're staying in, but I'm married, so I was like, no, that's not the right question.
All right. So you were talking earlier about, getting called to do or just do like a bit part and not being sure and putting stuff on tape. And I was wondering if there was a dream role where you couldn't exactly see yourself in the movie, but you're like, I still really want to be a part of this because I'm a fanboy. Like, what would be your dream cameo?
I got to do, cameo.
Yeah.
Well, I got
like
to have
if you're
that.
just like, I need to be in this and I don't care how. What is that for you?
Oh, Star Wars. I wouldn't even mind being, like a stormtrooper, you never know. Because then I could wear a stormtrooper mask at Comic-Con and be like, God, nobody's asking me for my autograph. I got to play Two Flower in Color of Magic. So those of you who don't know, I feel like we should do a reading. The prologue is good, but anyhow, Color of Magic was something that a young actor named Paul Telfer turned me on to in New Zealand when I was doing a Hercules miniseries in 2007 or something like that. And we waited in line for the author, Terry Pratchett, who passed away last year. Terry Pratchett wrote the Discworld series, and there were 14, 15, 16, 18... No, just in this Discworld. He's a huge author, but I think the Discworld has like something in the mid-teens, right? 20s? Okay, there's gonna be a fight. Hold on, I just want to, you guys will want to hear this. Talk amongst yourself. Next question.
These mics are awesome.
Anyhow, so I got to do that, and I never thought I'd be able to be in it. I thought for sure they'd hire an English actor when they did it in England, and we had interacted with Terry, and he really liked me, and I got an offer through my wife came in, and I just gotten back in really good shape again, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but you get to play Two Flower, and I started crying. I'm like, I can't. It's just like the great. I was afraid that they would change from the time she told me that she'd just gotten the call to the time we saw it, like a year later in the movie theater in London. I was sure they would change their mind. So that was my chance to play a dream role I never thought I'd be a part of. So
While he's looking for this, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering what it was like when you first met Peter Jackson and how you got the part of Sam.
Well, Peter Jackson hired my father to play the judge in The Frighteners. So, which is awesome, and he was in prosthetic makeup for hours and hours and hours, and his jaw, he's supposed to be dead for 60 years, and his jaw is set off to the side. He had this dead bloodhound, and there was this guy, and he came in like some Tex Avery thing, shooting up. So I actually got a call from my dad and Peter and Fran, his partner, and Michael J. Fox, who started it. They had watched No, I guess they'd watched Rudy. They'd watched Rudy in their screening room, and they all just called to. I mean, this is years, well before Lord of the Rings, and they just were calling to say they saw the movie and they loved it and how great I was. And so when my agent called me and said that Victoria Burrows, the casting director for The Frighteners, who had also we have a statue to Victoria at our house, like a little, like some people have a Buddha statue. We have this casting director statue. We touch with great reverence. But when my agent called and said that the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson is doing the Lord of the Rings trilogy for New Line, I knew I had a friendly court. So I went into Victoria. I did the scene where Frodo's been stung by Shelob. Don't go where I can't follow, Mr. Frodo. He's not asleep, dead. That whole thing. And you read those lines and you just go, like a monkey can read these lines. They're just the words. If you can make the sounds come out of your mouth, the ideas connected to these sounds are so good, anybody can do them. And thank God I looked right for the part, And then he and Fran flew to LA, like months later, and I auditioned in person, and he said, I have one question for you. And I said, what's that? He goes, it's a long time in New Zealand. Are you okay with that? I said, you won't have to ask me twice. And it wasn't until like March, we got there in August, it wasn't until the next March where I was like, uh-oh, this is really hard. There was a national election on, there was a Bush v. Gore thing, and I'm an American in New Zealand trying to explain why my country's having a hard time holding a free and fair election. I'm like, I need to be home. And then New Zealand kind of became home too. So anyhow, the story goes from there. Do you guys want to hear the prologue to The Color of Magic?
Yes.
Let's do a speed round of questions, and then I want to can I do that?
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
it.
speed round.
Speed round.
What would you say is your character's defining moment in Lord of the Rings?
Being awesome. That's a long moment of being awesome.
Well, what was your favorite then?
No, I think defining moment's more interesting question. Favorite's hard. Defining moment, defining moment. It has to be at the end of the Fellowship when he won't let Frodo.
I was just gonna say that one.
I mean, he's got other ones, the wall, the two tower speech, there's some good left in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth, I made a promise, Mr. Frodo, don't you leave, to Gandalf, don't you leave him, and I don't mean to. That has to be the first time where he's individually tested. They're all kind of tested as a group. I mean, when they're battling the cave troll, and he's hitting the orcs with pots and pans and saying, I think I'm getting the hang of this. It's like, all right, so Sam's a game fighter, but that's the first moment where he has to choose as a character. What he doesn't have to choose. There's no choice for him, and I think that's revealed. So
that was a really dramatic scene too.
Okay, next.
Hi. Can you reach it? No.
Just tilt it down. Grab the microphone and tilt it down. No, not. Oh yeah.
There you go.
Good job. Whisper. Do that again with whisper. Do it again with whisper. Yeah, keep doing it. There you go. Now whisper.
Why did you decide to join Lord of the Rings?
That's a great question. When you, how old are you? 8. Yeah, makes me sad.
She's already lying about her age.
No, I have 3 daughters. I have a soon to be 20, soon to be 14, and 11. And they were all 7 at one point and turned 8, and now I'm sad because they're growing up. I want them to grow up, but it's still sad. So, okay, in this lifetime, sometimes we can do something really important. If you're a farmer and you're making food, that's really important because people need food to eat. And a lot of the things people do, other people might not realize how important they are. But since I'm an actor, one of the things I can do is help tell a story that touches people, that makes them feel something, makes them think something. And the feelings people have when they watch Lord of the Rings, and the things they think about, things like, are some people bad? And can they be good again? those kinds of thoughts in our minds, really, really important that we think about that. That's part of what it means to be human. So when I got to be a part of Lord of the Rings, I realized I got to be a part of something that could be meaningful for other people. Is that too big an answer? You okay with that answer? Okay.
That's a lot of pressure to...
Yeah. What's your favorite color?
So I have an interesting one for you.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite tour guide position? Leading the Goonies to One-Eyed Willie, or leading Frodo to and through Mordor?
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times. If you turn your attention left, you will see the great eye of Sauron. Now, make sure you stop by the gift shop. We've got rings and dragon teeth and all sorts of fun things for you. People bring me the ring. They're like, look, it's my ring. I'm like, you're like a dog with a rat. Go away. I don't want to see that. It took 9 hours of moving. Get rid of it. Can I pick you up? No, you cannot. Anyhow, it's got to be Lord of the Rings.
Hey, Sean, Robert Allen, I'm gonna go here. I just recently finished a script and I'm just curious, can we talk about Goonies 2?
You finished a script for Goonies 2?
I did.
That's more than Corey Feldman, who played Mouth, and I did. We cooked up a treatment, like a really in-depth treatment, and we actually got Richard Donner, the director, and his team of development folks to hear the pitch. And we gave him the whole pitch, and the whole time Dick is listening to it, he's kind of closing his eyes, and you can see he's putting himself in the story that we're creating. And his development people are writing, and they're looking at us, and every now and then Corey and I look at each other, and when it's over, it's, you know, there's the ta-da moment, and we look, and Dick goes, wow, because you guys put a lot of thought into that. He said, yeah. He goes, yeah, we're not going to do that. So we were like, oh, so good luck.
Hi, Rachel Rogers. I had a longer question, but I'm gonna ask a shorter question. So if you could be any...
But now you gotta ask the long question. Jeez.
Well, I mean, I'll just ask a short question. Okay. So if you could be any actual character, like in real life, from Lord of the Rings or a creature, who would you be?
Meerkat.
Who?
A meerkat.
A meerkat? Because I narrated Meerkat Manor. She wants me to be a meerkat in Middle Earth. Well, I've always said Aragorn.
Aragorn?
I've always said, I was talking to one of the directors, Jeremy from Jeremiah, and we were talking about fiction. And I was just saying, I can't read that book. I don't, that I just don't like this, and I don't like that. And he looked at me and he said, wow, you're sort of trapped in this world. Because I like histories and biographies, and I want things to be real. And part of what's great about Lord of the Rings is it's fantasy, but it feels so real. It feels like real history. So I always, they wanted me to audition for Sam, and I was like, well, what about Aragorn? No, they want me to audition for Sam. Can I be Smog? I don't know. Yeah, I would be Sam. That's the only thing I could ever be. A gardener who drinks ale, smokes pipe, weed, and gets to have 5 babies with 15 babies with Rosie Cotton.
The ending to 50 First Dates is one of the best, I think. And do you know if that was the originally planned ending?
I believe it was. Because I believe I was jealous that they were all going to go up to Alaska to film it, and I had to go back to LA, and yeah, I got to have Reese's and Spam and that kind of cute girl, androgynous girl. Yeah, but to the best of my knowledge, I believe that was the original. I believe.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's an amazing love story. It's a funny, goofy thing where he makes walrus genitalia jokes and everything, but ultimately it's got so much heart, so I'm very proud of, not even my part, I'm proud of them.
How you doing? I'm going a little off topic, but I don't know how many people know this, but you actually did the Ironman competition, which most people don't know is it's just over 140 miles.
146.2, but
right.
Counting.
What was it? It's a two-part question. What was it like doing something like that? Because only few people will actually understand the physical grueling that does on your body.
You make me cry, dude.
And where does it rank as far as your level, as far as your accomplishments go?
It's at the very, very top. It's at the very, very top. I mean, graduating from UCLA with honors, a double degree in English. And, well, you got to start with being married for 24 years and having 3 beautiful, healthy kids. One of them is going to Harvard now, so that's the top. It's easy to take. It's easy to. Well, let me just say, I love that you asked that question. It is. I was invited to do it early in the year last year because I made friends with Dave McGillivray, who is the race director for the Boston Marathon, and he invited me to run in the Boston Marathon. So last year, and we met at Disney World where I was doing the Dopey Challenge. And for those of you who know what the Run Disney thing is, the Dopey Challenge is a 4-day test. 5K on Thursday, 10K on Friday, half marathon on Saturday, full marathon on Sunday. It's a 40-point something thing, and we did that, and we were on a panel together talking about things, and so then he called the Ironman people and said, Sean's awesome, he's doing all this great stuff for his charity thing, and they invited me. And I'd done a sprint or two back in the early 90s, and I just thought, I had to get buy-in from the family. It was hard. The training was really hard. I mean, it's so much harder to lose weight now for me, 45 years old, and even when I'm eating perfectly, and training, it's a challenge. I look at these genetic freaks that do these triathlons. You land in Kona in Hawaii where the championship is, and it's like being in Lilliput or being dropped into into Rivendell or something like that. You're looking at these people and you're like, wow, they're from a different land. And doing the swim was the biggest accomplishment for me because I get claustrophobic and I would get in the water and start having these panic attacks. And it's a 2.4-mile swim. When you're standing on the shore, you cannot see the turnaround marker. You at a certain point when you're swimming out, it's 4,224 yards. That's like 420 football fields. Wow. And you get out, say 30 football fields, and you you turn around and look, and you can still see the mountain, but you can't see the 2-story Gatorade blow-up thing promotional thing they have. You can't see anybody looking back, and there's like nothing to hold on to. It's scary. And I said to myself, if I get 3/4 of the way done with the swim, the rest of the day is gravy. It was one of the great days of my life. 15 hours and 30 minutes. It's an amazing thing. I actually want to go do it in New Zealand. Go at Lake Taupo, at the foot of Mount Ruapehu, where we filmed. So but it's hard, and it's a huge sacrifice, and the family really took it in the teeth because it's like 7 days a week, 3 to 7 hours of training, and you don't get much else done. And I'm complaining the whole time.
Well, kudos to you because I have trouble driving 140 miles.
Thanks, brother.
We have one more question. That's
okay. Okay, speed rap. Really a speed rap. Go ahead. Just shout it out.
I have 2 questions.
Okay, go fast.
Okay. Do you think you're gonna do a Goonies number 2?
I think we'll do a Goonies number. I think a Goonies number 2 will get made. I don't know if I'll be in it because I might not be alive by then. But I will definitely. What's your other one?
Do you know how to do the truffle shuffle?
No, I hate the truffle shuffle. I never liked the truffle shuffle. I thought that was bullying. Everybody loves that, and I see these guys, these truck drivers with the truffle shuffle tattooed on their stomach, and I'm like, I'm glad you're having fun with it, but I never liked it. But anyhow, you're funny. Okay, quick, next, fast.
one more.
Yeah, can you do the speech from Rudy?
We're gonna go inside, outside. We're gonna run, boys. Once we get on the road, we're gonna go. We're not gonna stop there, cross that goal line today. We're gonna win. What do you say, boys? Okay, next.
I want to make this clear that
Frodo was your sidekick in the movie, and how did the bread taste? The bread
Awful. It tastes like chalk. It was terrible. Actually, kind of like baking soda, so you kind of get used to it. Yeah.
I know you're a voice actor, and I just wanted to know if you ever got the chance to work with the Bradley Baker.
No, not yet. Really? No.
Last.
Sorry. That little girl from Astin.
No, come on.
Behind her, go.
Do it.
How old were you when you were in Goonies?
12. 13.
You did it.
Take about 2.5 minutes.
Do we have 2.5 minutes?
Yes.
We don't.
Really?
Run it.
Oh, please.
You got a minute.
Do it again.
Come on, run it.
Come on, let's hear what my hosts have to say.
5 minutes over, we have a panel in 10 minutes.
Come back. He's got another panel this weekend.
Just go for it.
Go see him at his table.
The microphone is so good to do it. That's part of why to do it. All right. They have a panel in 10 minutes, and they gotta load everybody in. I'll just do the first word, the first sentence. First sentence. In a second-hand set of dimensions, in an astral plane that was never meant to fly, the curling star mists waver and part. See, the great Chewin the turtle comes. That's it.